Life of a true whistleblower is to choose to have a life with no real existence. You have to move like the wind.
Right.
You know, people, they say I'm homeless because they don't know where I live. But the truth is I live in 5 different states simultaneously.
Yeah.
See, I had to learn to play 3-card Monte with my life.
Yep.
Now, you might get all my addresses, but you're just going to have to figure out when I'm there.
Exactly.
But you have to think like that. Your life is constant contingency, contingency, contingency. And then the people that they pay to come into your life.
Mm-hmm.
Truth is there's nobody that comes in my life that doesn't go through a very, very, very rigorous vetting process. I gotta.
Right.
You got bad credit, we can't be friends. If you're in debt, we can't be friends. If popularity is what you're interested in, we can't be friends. Because, see, these are all things that can be used to manipulate you. You got sick family members, I'm going to pray for y'all from afar. Because you do anything to save their life, and the people that want me will pay.
The moment Jaguar Wright sat down for this interview, you could tell something was weighing on her. Her tone was calm, but her eyes told a deeper story, one filled with pain, confusion, and years of bottled-up emotion. As she began talking about her past and her connection to the industry, her voice began to tremble. She tried to hold it together, but when she mentioned Diddy's name, her composure started to crack. This wasn't just about rumors or gossip. This was someone who had reached an emotional breaking point. You could feel it in every pause, every breath, and every glance she made toward the camera. Then came the words that made everyone silent. "Please help me." Not for attention, but out of desperation. You could tell she wasn't just speaking for herself. She was speaking for every artist who's ever been ignored, manipulated, or silenced.
I don't understand. I wish she would just come out the closet. Like, she's really taking this, don't ask, don't tell too far. And she ain't never been in the military.
Well, she is a snake. Like, there's no bigger snake than Oprah. Because I cover Michael Jackson. I'm curious your thought. I believe Michael Jackson's actually innocent. I've been doing a whole documentary.
Although Michael Jackson is innocent, they targeted him. And for her to play in his face while he was alive, those boys to discredit him, and then her to bring it back right after he passed away. The way she did Luther Vandross when he passed away. The way she just, exploited him laying in that bed. The way she did, the way she does the way she's doing Taraji P. Henson. I think she should be tried in the court of public opinion for what she's doing to poor Fantasia.
Jaguar described what it felt like after she started telling her truth publicly, and it wasn't pretty. She said people who once supported her suddenly disappeared. Messages stopped. Projects got canceled. Doors that were once wide open slammed shut with no explanation. "I thought telling the truth would set me free," she admitted, "but it made me feel more trapped." What's even more heartbreaking is that she didn't sound angry, she sounded tired. Tired of being painted as the problem when she was simply trying to be honest. Jaguar spoke about how betrayal doesn't always come from strangers. It often comes from the people you once called family. In those words, you could hear years of disappointment piling up, and the need for anyone, to believe her again.
I think it's getting a little too late for those who are complicit.
That some were doubting you. Did you ever question, am I on the right path?
Oh, I never question that. Still don't. Never will. God leads me to do everything I do.
Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucian Grange. He was selected to be the demon that he is, to keep the culture in line so the industry could continue to rape it.
Stevie J should be charged Mary J. Blige should also be charged. Jennifer Lopez should definitely be charged. Should I keep going?
You're hitting it off.
Jay-Z should be charged. Khaled should be charged. Rick Ross should be charged. Usher should be charged. Jaguar Wright was out there yelling and screaming and yelling and screaming, "Monster, monster, monster, monster." And everybody kept saying, "She's lying, she's lying, she's lying." Meanwhile, the monster is, "Where's the baby oil in the butt plug? Let's go."
As the questions grew more intense, Jaguar couldn't hold back anymore. Her voice cracked. Her hands started shaking. She lowered her head and began to cry, not for pity, but because she was reliving moments she never fully healed from. "I've held this in for so long," she whispered. The interviewer stayed quiet, letting her feel what she needed to feel. And honestly, that silence said more than words ever could. Watching her break down on camera wasn't just emotional, it was powerful. 'Cause in that moment, viewers saw the cost of truth. Not everyone who speaks out wants revenge, some just want peace. Jaguar didn't need to name names to make her point. Her tears, her struggle to breathe through the pain, told you everything.
Oh, he's terrified. He's terrified. He's losing confidence everywhere. But the only confidence he's worried about keeping secure are those white boys. I'll tell you who I believe is on the tapes. I believe Barack Obama got a tape.
Yeah, he playing hot dog.
I know Jennifer Lopez has multiple tapes.
Oh, yeah.
Oof.
I know Beyonce got a tape. I definitely know they probably recycled some old Stevie J and Eve stuff. I know Drake got a tape. I know Rihanna got a tape. I know Chris Brown's on one of them tapes. I know Trey Songz has been like a supporting actor in many freak-off films. Definitely Usher. I think what would shock people are the politicians. And the royals that were on that tape. And I'm still trying to figure out when Harry and Meghan are going to be honest about their freak off tape.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody really wants to talk about the fact that the royal family had many times at Ditty Party, especially that weirdo uncle. Stevie J should be charged. Mary J. Blige should also be charged. Jennifer Lopez should definitely be charged. Should I keep going?
I mean, you're hitting it off.
Jay-Z should be charged. Khaled should be charged. Rick Ross should be charged. Usher should be charged and tried with him. Off of Justin.
Jaguar opened up about feeling watched, followed, and even targeted after coming forward. She said things started happening that didn't feel like coincidences anymore. "It's not paranoia when strange things keep happening," she said, eyes darting to the side. She wasn't making wild accusations. She was explaining how fear slowly creeps in when you've shared something others want buried. She talked about losing sleep, double-checking locks, and feeling unsafe in places that once felt like home. But despite all that, she sat there and told her story anyway. That takes courage most people can't imagine. And when she said, "I just want to live in peace," it reminded everyone that behind the headlines and social media clips is a human being just trying to feel safe again.
Uptown Records started with 5 people. Andre Harrell, Albie Shore, Heavy D, and Puffy. And Kim was the longest working employee because she was there from the very beginning. She was Andre's personal assistant. Kim's dead. Heavy D is dead. Andre Harrell is dead. The only two left are Puffy and Al almost died. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Heavy D was found dead, face down in the heart attack. Andre Harrell, heart attack. Kim died from pneumonia, but there's the first coroner's report that said that she died. It was ruled a homicide, and they found toxins in her body to prove that she had been poisoned. You know, they have poisons that create heart attack and pneumonia-like symptoms. And then right after that, Al had a meeting, and I was going to meet up with him because we were in Vegas. And then the next thing you know, you want to know what they all had in common, though? The survivors and the late of Uptown Records, they were all writing tell-all books. Andre was writing a book right before he died. Heavy D was working on a book before he died. Kim Porter was working on a book before she died. And Al B. Sure was working on the documentary of his life. And then he goes into a... Has Puffy ever been in a coma? Has anything happened to him? He must be the luckiest because it seems like everybody that worked at Uptown Records from the very beginning.
As Jaguar continued, her emotions spilled over again, and this time she didn't hold back. She cried openly, wiping her face while explaining how speaking out had affected not just her career, but her entire life. She said she lost friendships, opportunities, and even parts of herself. "I used to sing to heal people," she said softly. "Now I speak to survive." That line hit deep, because it showed that this wasn't about chasing headlines. It was about trying to find herself in a world that kept trying to silence her. She said all she ever wanted was honesty, but all she got was isolation. And even though her voice cracked and her eyes were red, she kept talking. That kind of strength is rare, and it deserves to be heard.
Body acknowledging Jennifer Lopez and her grand witch status.
Oh, yes.
Don't look me in my eyes. Yeah, because you're a witch, and you don't want them to see what's hiding behind there. Now they're talking about the killing of the pigeons in the park, and Diddy got off and all of that. Everyone who knows Jennifer Lopez knows she's very heavy into Santeria.
And her first husband has gone on the record and said that she does rituals and
she's a witch.
Animal sacrifices covered in blood. We also know that she was allegedly the gun mule for the club shooting.
For the shooting of Natanya Rubin.
Exactly.
And she's the one who threw the gun out the window.
And then they got Diddy off the hook. And then Shine Barrow was thrown into jail. And there's also a woman, allegedly, that sat and watched an underage child be raped by Diddy and another celebrity. And that was the night of the VMAs years ago when Diddy was with J-Lo. I looked it up. They were actually at least one of the after parties together. That's when she wore the famous white outfit, the stupid bandana.
Yeah.
Now, is it your opinion that she is the woman that sat and watched Diddy and another celebrity rape a child? If that story is
I would not be surprised.
But do you know who I would rather see a woman preside over? Jennifer Lopez. When she's finally held accountable for the part she played in the harm that was put on Natanya Rubin's life.
Do you think they'll bring up charges on Jennifer Lopez?
They better. She committed perjury. And the attorney that was representing the defense side of that suborned perjury. Last time I checked, there's no statute of limitation on perjury. We can start there. Let's bring Jenny to the cell block. She's been to every other block.
Sometimes they'll open up a case to bring light on other cases. Do you feel the Shine the club night with him and Jennifer Lopez will come back to light.
Jaguar made it clear this isn't about one man. It's about an entire system that allows silence, manipulation, and fear to flourish behind the scenes. It's not just Diddy, it's the culture around him, she explained. She spoke about how the music industry celebrates the shiny surface but ignores the deep scars underneath. She said artists are often treated like property, used and discarded when they stop playing along. It was a bold claim, but the emotion behind it made it impossible to ignore. Jaguar wasn't trying to take anyone down, she was trying to lift the curtain. And when someone is brave enough to say, "I can't do this quietly anymore," we owe it to them to listen.
I have insider information on Diddy and Kevin Hart's involvement. I know this because I was on a TV show with a girl who was actively dating Diddy at the time. There I am. A quick Google search will tell you who she is. This girl was paparazzi'd with Diddy back in 2022-2023. Obviously, the cast was concerned about her because the Cassie lawsuit just dropped before filming. Now, the first week of filming just had to be Valentine's Day. Now, Diddy's girl got a very expensive bouquet of flowers delivered on Valentine's Day, but she refused to tell anybody who it was from. It's a reality show, so obviously drama went down. Diddy's girl decided to leave the house for a week. So my girl and I decided to break into her room to redecorate it for show purposes. Just playing along with the drama of the show, we were shocked by what we found.
Bro, there's no way. Bro. Oh my God, from Puff.
The flowers were from Diddy. Love, Puff. This sent my girlfriend into a spiral. As a woman, she was terrified that Diddy had our address. She let the girl know how she felt and put the card back where she found it. The girl told Diddy what happened, and then Diddy threatened production. So the Diddy girl started screaming at my girlfriend, saying that Diddy was going to sue her because of what she wrote on the note. Worried that we were all going to discuss this sick shit that he was doing on our TV show. The fact that he wanted to silence a girl that he doesn't even know for writing on a note is absolutely insane. Production then pulled every cast member aside and instructed us to no longer have any Diddy conversation for the duration of the show. Diddy threatened to bankrupt our TV show and my girlfriend. We thought it ended there, right? But then Diddy's girl got mentioned in a lawsuit that came out publicly. When this went down, Diddy's girl happened to be in a fight with another castmate. Now that castmate just happened to be dating J-Lo's ex-boyfriend Casper. Diddy's girl was scared that the other castmate was going to use this Diddy stuff against her during their fight. So she decided to make a call to guess who? Kevin Hart. Now at the time, none of us knew it was actually Kevin Hart until later on. So Kevin Hart called Casper and threatened him to make sure he gets his girl in check on the show. Now Casper's girlfriend told all of us that Diddy's girl was also sleeping with Kevin Hart, who happens to be married with children and best friends with Diddy. Kevin Hart clearly made the call to Casper to ensure that Diddy's girl stayed quiet about the affair that him and her were having because once again, he's married. Kind of weird that Diddy and Kevin Hart are both sleeping with the same girl and threatening our TV show, isn't it? Now listen, I'm just an ordinary blue-collar worker from Jersey, okay? Who happens to be dating a famous OF model, which is how I got on the show in the first place. Now, I'm not a social media star. I'm not famous. I have no reason to lie about any of this shit, okay? Now, the only reason I'm telling you guys all this is because when I was in Hollywood filming this TV show, I went through some sick, twisted okay, so let me know if you guys want to hear about it.
The interviewer sat in stunned silence as Jaguar poured her heart out. There was no script, no flashy reactions, just a moment of real human connection. At one point, the interviewer simply said, "I'm sorry this happened to you." That small gesture meant everything. 'Cause in a world where people are quick to judge and slow to empathize, that moment of support was powerful. You could tell Jaguar needed to hear it, just one voice saying she wasn't crazy, dramatic, or making it up. That moment reminded viewers that sometimes the most healing thing we can offer is to believe someone's pain without questioning it.
Are Diddy and Kevin Hart doing with the same girl? Said girl was named as a paid S worker in a public Diddy lawsuit which came out while we were filming. It makes me wonder what the hell is going on between the two of them. Because sharing the same alleged S-worker is pretty sketchy. My questions are, why were Diddy and Kevin Hart, two of the most famous men in Hollywood, doing even in the vicinity of our low-budget, no-name Tubi show? Why were they going through such great lengths to silence people on such a small project? Shouldn't they not care? Isn't all this way...
He's worse than Diddy, and I believe
Absolutely.
that. Do you believe he's higher up, in the food chain above?
Now he is. Now he is. He wasn't, which is why I know he's doing everything that he can do to play both sides against the middle, to make sure that Diddy goes down and he stays clean.
Do you think he's scared right now? Do you think Beyonce's scared?
Oh, absolutely. Did you know that Tony Busby, the lawyer that's doing all the Diddy lawsuits, just got sued?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
By a prominent figure. They're trying to make everybody believe it's Kevin Hart. But the funny thing is, the lawsuit that's suing Tony Busby, Spiro is partner. And Alex Spiro is Jay-Z's personal lawyer.
Oh, so it's probably Jay-Z then that's doing the suing.
Of course they'd use Kevin's name.
Well,
but it ain't Kevin. Why is Alex Spiro popping up everywhere? He got Alex. He got Alec Baldwin off of a crime he didn't commit, and everyone is heralding him to be this amazing lawyer. He's not an amazing lawyer. It was a stacked deck, and he knew when to pull the right card to make it look like everything went away. But the truth is, Alec Baldwin was a patsy to cover up for why they actually had that one.
Jaguar looked into the camera and asked, "What did I do to deserve this?" It was a question without an answer, but one that echoed through the room. She wasn't asking to be pitted. She was trying to understand how the industry she gave her soul to had left her feeling discarded. She talked about being young, talented, full of hope, and how that hope slowly faded with every betrayal. "I was just trying to help people," she said, "but no one helped me." That sentence alone felt like a gut punch, because it showed how deep the wounds really go and how important it is to make space for voices like hers.
Ellen DeGeneres. So between 2006 and 2022, Combs appeared as a guest on DeGeneres' daytime talk show more than a dozen times.
17 times! I've been on the show 17 times!
And during his first appearance in 2006, Combs wasn't really shy about sharing private details.
I'm definitely a nighttime person.
What time do you stay up till?
I stay up till like maybe 6 in the morning. I'm back up at like 10:30, 11.
6 in the morning? What do you do every night till 6 in the morning? You don't go to clubs every night.
No, I make love a lot. And,
That's
Ellen,
my favorite answer ever.
Many clips of his guest spots have resurfaced recently, including discussions between Combs and Ellen about his infamous parties.
It'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then the after party.
Mm-hmm. No, I know about them.
And years later, Combs said he wanted to attend one of Ellen's parties.
I have to arrive fashionably late.
All right. Not too late, though.
Not too late?
Not too late, please.
What time would you like me there?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But not too late. Because, once you get there, the party really starts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I promise you, I'm not going to let you down on this big one.
All right, good.
Real.
Good.
Your feet are going to have blisters. You're going to be dancing so hard.
I can't wait.
Now, the two seem to kind of dance around the apparently open secret that Combs' parties were beyond wild, with reports of drugs and multiple participants and more. And as the allegations against Combs have mounted, many have called his interviews with Ellen now creepy.
So no money on you?
It's just a little bit of money on me.
Oh, you do have money on you. Lord have mercy. Where are you going after this? It's all 20s. Where are you going after this? What are you doing?
You know what we doing, what we plan to do, girl.
Let's not forget, Diddy was never subtle about the company he kept. He was cocky, loud, and made it clear he didn't care who saw what. So why did Ellen think she'd get away with her decade-deep ties to him without scrutiny?
There is a difference between a wild party and something that is criminal. Okay, there's a difference between having a great time and something that's an illegal freak-off. And having said that, remember when I told you about those freak-offs, right? Cassandra Ventura, as well as prosecutors, said in legal filings that people forced to participate would often have to get IV drips to recover from exhaustion and prolonged drug use. Well, in 2016, Combs appeared on stage with blue gauze around his arm and explained that he was just getting an IV drip backstage. He'd apparently arrived at the studio with it.
They said that I would have to stay. I said, no, I have to go. I said I could pull it out myself. So I walk in and I'm talking to Ellen. I have the IV and then the blood is going down. I start to panic. I go into the bathroom and I pulled it out myself and I just made it here and I love you.
I love you too.
So, of course, the natural question is, what was going on right before this?
After the interview aired, social media exploded with support. People shared her story, posted encouraging messages, and demanded that her voice be respected. Even celebrities began to speak up, saying Jaguar deserved to be heard, not dismissed. The shift was powerful. For once, the internet didn't mock or ignore her. They embraced her. She may have felt alone when she said, "Please help me," but by the end it was clear that thousands were listening. The strength she showed became a beacon for others who felt silenced too. And maybe that's what makes her story so important. She gave people permission to speak their truth, no matter how painful it is.
That moment where she tried to help Diddy, help Chris Brown and yada, 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 and then gave him the Huggle that gross nickname that was found on Twitter. Yikes. What are your thoughts on Ellen? Do you think misunderstood hero, or is she a villain?
Degenerate. And not because she's lesbian, because I'm bisexual. I remember that Ellen episode. It was very groundbreaking, and I hated the way they shamed her. I hated the way they shamed her, but she did what everybody else does. She conformed. And, Ellen has her own proclivities, but right now, I'm on, I hate Ellen over Twitch. Like, I'm never going to get over Twitch. I'm never going to get over the fact that even in this new special that she did, pretty much telling everybody to kiss her ass and love her because she made nice look cool, even though she's like, I'm mad that there was no acknowledgement or even honoring Twitch. Like, I don't know if anyone has noticed. She's pretty much acted like Twitch never happened.
It's tragic what happened to Twitch.
I don't understand how Harvey Leviathan was able to get to the scene of the incident so quickly because it was supposed to be an ooey idol, right? Last time I checked, people don't text TMZ and say, "Hey, I'm about to unalive myself. Can you be?"
As the interview wrapped up, Jaguar wiped away her final tear and said, "I just want peace. I just want to heal." It was soft, almost a whisper, but it carried more weight than anything she said all day. This wasn't just a dramatic ending. It was a real moment of surrender, of honesty. You could feel the exhaustion in her voice, but also the hope that maybe, just maybe, someone out there would care enough to listen. And that's what made this interview unforgettable. Jaguar Wright didn't come to entertain. She came to be heard. And now the world is finally paying attention.
If you could possibly, as best you can, do you know what I'm saying? Talk about her involvement with any of this, if any. And that woman is Oprah. And a lot of people seem to be almost calling Oprah out as somebody who's, passing the torch to a younger, singer, shall we say. We won't necessarily go into too many names. But where do you stand with Oprah and her involvement with Diddy, the cabal, all of this? Is she a central point within all of this?
Well, I want to see if I can pull something up right quick.
All right, yeah, go for it.
So I can see.
That's right.
for that. Absolutely.
Well, I'll just add an allegedly to Ron's question.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
I'm still like, don't fuck with her because like that's a little too much. But wait a second. But if she's being transparent and if she's telling the truth, then what do you mean? How are we supposed to just?
Well, the very same people that are saying don't her, they're saying that because they can't. So you got to understand there's an added bonus that a lot of people ain't looking at. I'm more talented than every last one of those.
Okay. Listen,
and if I actually try to make all of that bullshit like disgusted work, I would have been better at it than all of them, and they know that. See, the people that are happy being quiet are the people that are praying I never get a shot because they'll disappear. No different than when Chris Brown gets on stage with any other male performer, they disappear in real life. That's what I do.
But we are run by mediocrity, though.
So absolutely. Absolutely. No one wants to compete with real talent. And guess what? Real talent gets a real say. And look at all of the people with real talent that just won.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Yeah.
I can see why.
People try. People think that it's just clear cut. It's like, oh, there's some white man, like at the Billie Holiday scene, there's some white man with a needle with some drugs.
No, it's not that.
No, it's done through our people. It's done through our people. And it's very strategic.
And
the way
elegant.
that it's done.
It's a very elegant design.
Yes. And it's an upper echelon thing where you become, where it's like, oh, try this, try that, try this, like going to parties. Oh, there's rolled blunts being passed around as cocktails if it's hors d'oeuvres, but you don't know what's in those blunts.
That's why they called me a narc back in the day when I used to go.
Okay.
I wonder who that was.
Listen, don't Facebook mum post me with you give me half a post just so I can follow up with a tell me please, because you got me on the cliffhanger here. Yeah.
That was a member of the cast of Empire.
Okay.
He had some very interesting things to say about that woman you just asked me about.
Oh, hey, goddamn! All right, okay, we're taking the long road to the answer. I appreciate it. Okay, we're building a stage. I like it. We're Tolkien in this. All right, so
that's
the
first time anybody's heard that.
There we go, exclusive. If the channel is gone tomorrow, everyone, you will know why. Some things are too exclusive. But can you elaborate a little bit more on it? Because it's just
Oprah Winfrey has been tied to so many awful people.
Yeah.
And the things that she's done throughout the years have only been in service to certain people. She called herself a friend to Luther Vandross, and the way she exploited him at the end of his life. But she's also friends with Clive Davis. Clive Davis was managing Luther Vandross, just like he managed Janis Joplin, just like he managed Whitney Houston. You know, Oprah, when she first did that hit piece on Monique, it was terrible. And then to watch the way Lee Daniels, Oprah, and Tyler Perry created an alliance that has done nothing but keep African American artists working for bottom pay and bottom tier while still putting out Oscar-winning and award-winning content.
Yeah, I think. Well, there we go. Okay, because that's kind of where we were.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me, and I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not. But I do get tired of seeing the country ripped off.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't. But, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally, because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country, how we're really making other people live like kings and we're not.
You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life. And if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined. I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning, because I think people, I don't know how your audience was, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off. And I can't promise you everything, but I can tell you one thing. This country would make one hell of a lot of money from those people that for 25 years have taken advantage. It wouldn't be the way it's been. Believe me.
By the way, you know what's funny? Do you know the story is that at that time, it was supposed to be Trump running for office with Oprah Winfrey as his VP. Really? That's kind of how the story was about. And how do you go from that, being a good friend, to saying if he gets